I'm in a bit of a quandary. I love redesigning this room and I love showing you it as I go along, but it's also really echoey and I have to reset up the camera every time I'm in here and then make sure the windows are open and try to I'm thinking about moving baby A out of the office, which is like actually an office, but we put him there because when we moved here, we didn't want to be going up and down the stairs all the time. So the office is his room and my office is upstairs, but it's kind of become a guest room. And I don't like working up there. I like being downstairs. I like being in the midst of all the noise and all the chaos. And the thought is, I'll move baby A up to the guest room and then move the big boys into the guest room and move the guest room into the big boys room and then move my office into baby A's room, which is actually an office. And then I can make all these videos in there. And I don't have to reset up or open windows or do any of the things. I'll just be set. That is the long-term idea. Sarah Wakamp here of Parents Who. I am so glad to be back chatting with you again. I had a difficult but a really good time in the last video that I was very honest and vulnerable in. I'll put the link to it below or in a box here. And I really enjoyed the feedback that I got. And I immediately, right after I made that video, I felt 500 pounds lighter. Like, instantly. It was amazing. All these things that I've been carrying around, all these things that I've been worrying about, if that maybe I talked about them, people would, throw tomatoes at me or call the police and take my kids away or you call me crazy or not be friends with. None of those things happened. None of them. So today we're going to continue in that journey. This is still so awkward. I'm between a lamp and a fern. Anyways, so I say so a lot. I say a lot. This weekend, I worked on updating the About page on our website. I realized that I have not touched the website in probably 3 years. So it was extremely outdated. And the reason, well, part of the reason that I haven't updated it is because that About page and that blinking blank cursor has just been staring me down for months on end. I haven't known what to write. As I have evolved and grown as a parent, so also has Parents Who grown and evolved. Where I used to worry about how to get my kids to eat their vegetables and how to get them to go to sleep and how much screen time they should have, it's now more about me and myself and whether I've had enough vegetables to eat and whether I've slept okay and how much screen time I should have. It's really, really hard to maintain your personhood in the midst of parenthood. How do you not sacrifice your parenting, but also not sacrifice your personhood? It's a very gray area. It's a very messy area. It can be a very dark and trying area. It definitely was for me. Honestly, when I first became a parent, I didn't really even give myself a second thought. I paid lip service to it and I knew everybody told me that I had to take care of myself and I had to rest and I had to eat right and go out and have alone time, but I felt like also they were giving lip service to that. Like, that's just something everybody says, but in reality, we know that we're all sacrificing ourselves. We're all doing the hard work and not taking time for ourselves. And our person, who we are, is kind of just disappearing, and that's just the way it has to be. So I lost myself. When I did have free time, I had no idea what I wanted to do, what I enjoyed doing. I saw what people were doing around me, and I knew that I didn't necessarily want to do that, but I didn't know if I was allowed to do what the thing is that I actually wanted to do. I thought I needed to fall in line and just do what everybody else was doing, but my heart would not let me fully do that. I had this tug, I had this gut feeling that I wanted to do things differently. And I didn't want to do what everybody around me was doing. But I didn't have the ability to give myself permission to do things differently. I definitely did not trust my gut. I didn't trust myself, really. See, there are all these messages when you become a parent. It starts from the day you get pregnant and goes up to the day you deliver, how you should deliver, where you should deliver, when you should deliver. It can create in you a sense that you can't trust yourself. Doctors, magazines, books, blogs, friends, family, everybody has an opinion, and it's nearly impossible to take in all that noise, especially as a first-time parent, and not get lost in it. I had never had a child before, so I felt like I needed to rely on all these other sources that were telling me what to do and how to do it, because essentially they were telling me that I couldn't trust my gut. Nobody was telling me, you feel a little bit sick today? Just trust your gut. What do you think is really going on? Or you think that you can have these twins naturally? Let's try it. I wasn't even given the choice. So right from day one, the message for me was, you can't trust yourself, and you need other input, other things besides your own internal voice to guide you. I didn't even start to notice that these messages existed until I started going to counseling. And I remember very specifically asking my counselor, why are these messages about motherhood and parenthood and what you should do and what you shouldn't do, why are they so strong in parenting and parenthood, but not when you get married? Hold on. When I got married, the messages were there. They just weren't quite as loud. Messages around being engaged and being a bachelorette and being a new wife. They just didn't hit as hard. This by the way is my wedding dress. Take it out and show you, but it's all packaged up so nicely. So instead, I'm just gonna show you this photo. 2008. Still looks wonderful. If I would ever have any reason to wear that again. When I was engaged, I definitely felt some shoulds, but nowhere close to as many as I felt when I became pregnant. Yes, my mom made me register for China, and what I felt was a overabundance of Pyrex, but I didn't feel the shoulds like I did with motherhood. I didn't feel the judgments that I did with motherhood. I didn't feel like I couldn't trust myself to make these decisions. Yes, I wore a white dress. Yes, we had a first dance, although it was the way we wanted to do it, not the way that everybody told us that we should do it. And I felt confident in that decision, and I felt great about that decision. But when it came to having kids, I doubted it all. I felt like everybody else knew better than I did. That sense of failure is really strongly introduced in motherhood. That feeling that you're doing it wrong, that you're not doing enough, that you're doing too much. It really undermined my confidence in being a mother and being a parent. There's so many messages around motherhood. For better or worse, it's sold as this glorious Gap commercial.
I wanted to be a mother pretty much my whole life.
Every moment was exactly what I had hoped for.
It is the best experience I have ever had in my whole life.
Just let your love flow like a mountain stream.
But by the time I had the boys, I was surrounded by this collection of shoulds, and it was so heavy that I could barely function under them. By the time I had my third born, I was drowning in shoulds. I was drowning in feeling like I wasn't enough, when all I really needed to do was feed the babies, change the babies, love the babies, keep them safe, and I would be fine. But I was constantly telling myself that it wasn't good enough. Maybe it wasn't the right diapers. Maybe it was too much screen time. They weren't eating enough vegetables. Even when I was pregnant, am I sleeping on the right side? Should I eat this chocolate? Should I go and get Chick-fil-A? At some point, it stopped becoming trusting the person that I was and the mother that I was, and started becoming, I need other people to tell me if I'm doing this right. And not directly, like not right to my face, but just in generalities of what everybody else around me was doing. Comparison is the thief of joy, they say, and I can attest that that is true. I've often wondered, how did we get here? Did we not trust ourselves? And then all the research started and all the books started coming out and the blogs and the podcast? Or was it that all the information started coming out and then we stopped trusting ourselves? I obviously don't know the answer to that, but I do know that study after study has shown that too many choices can actually lead to unhappiness. There's a book I read a long time ago called The Paradox of Choice. Absolutely fascinating. If you've ever found yourself in the toothpaste aisle wishing that there was just 2 to choose from, you will love this book. I'll link. Pregnancy is an internal process. It's ironic because it's an internal process that's happening inside of your body. It's such a unique experience. And so often we're taught not to trust that, to trust what's going on inside. For me, this looked like traveling for 100 days around Europe with my husband, completely trusting my gut and my instincts, sleeping in cars, hang gliding, deciding what strangers seemed approachable and which ones didn't, deciding which food we thought might get us sick and which one might not, to coming home, having twins and feeling like I couldn't trust myself at all. What's the point of all this, Sarah? I'm not sure. I just know that I need to put this out there, that it needs to be said. This is where I am journeying from. Side note, that's why I journeyed around the house. It's like a little analogy of like journeying, and it's a little nod to. And I know that it's part of my story, and my story is what I want to share on here. I think it's very, very important for you to know that you are not alone, that you are not the only person who has gone through this or is going through this. And that if you stay with the process, I promise you there is, I'm so sorry. I promise you that there is more confidence, less anxiety, more clarity, more trust, and more ease on the other side of it all. Getting to the other side is difficult. Just stick with me for a little while. It will get better. You're doing a great job now. Don't forget that. All right, I'll see you next time. Sarah Wakehamp here. Hair in my face. Where am I going with this? Oh, I missed my brain. Messages around, messages. Why can't I say the word messages? I wonder if that still fits. By the way, this is Dr. Pepper, not anything alcoholic, because it's like 2 o'clock in the afternoon. I have to go get the kids, but Dr. Pepper's great.